It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to Super Bowl week and our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you. The Monday podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines, brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, good afternoon. It is Super Bowl week and all kinds of baseball stories breaking. Man, there's a lot to cover.
What is this? College of William and Mary?
Hey, I violated the dress code today. You do it every Monday.
What's your connection to the William and Mary?
I recruited my son.
Okay, good for you.
Anyhow, that's where we are. So listen, we're going to go a lot of different directions. One point of order before we start. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We put topics on the table. We express opinions, mine and his from left field, and then we open it up for you to get involved. It's called Fans Forum. John, for people who are new to the live stream, who've never participated when we're live, how do they join us at Fans Forum?
How do they join us? So you just got to sign up. Man, go right there in the live chat, right there on Facebook, on X, or on YouTube, where you can leave a comment. You leave a comment there. That's you in the live chat, and we can see it on our screen. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Fans Forum coming up right at the end of the podcast. I am ready. You are ready, and we're going a lot of different directions. John, where do you want to start?
We'll start here with Padres, the state of the Padre address.
Yeah, let's talk about baseball because we're baseball-centric, and there's a lot of late-breaking stories as teams are getting ready to leave to go to spring training. Padres held their fan fest at Petco Park. Nice turnout. Not what it's been in the past. A lot of revelations. A.J. Preller, general manager, told us in the media, no contract talks yet. I've been too busy trying to restore the roster, to which I'm not sure I really buy that theory. At the end of the day, guy deserves a contract. He's the reason Petco Park has become a destination point because the franchise has been so good the last 5 years. Ownership, I understand the franchise is for sale. Maybe they don't want to give him a contract extension. Maybe they want to go one more year and see if he can finally get him close to the World Series. Or maybe they're taking the attitude, the Seidler family, we'll just sell the franchise, let the new owner decide who he wants to run the franchise on behalf of the new ownership. So I don't buy the theory that Preller's been too busy. That's why you have agents. He wants a deal, though, that would be win-win for both of us, the franchise and the general manager. I understand that. Did make an interesting comment. Please understand, as he talked to the media, I am adding payroll. We are not subtracting payroll. As of today, Padre payroll is about $220 million. That includes $8 million in luxury tax payments. They still have a little bit more money to use to go make another transaction. Now, the Padres have signed 20 free agents this winter. This hasn't got a lot of notoriety, but I pay attention to detail. Hardly any of them have any major league experience. The most recent one is Marco Gonzalez, left-handed pitcher with Seattle with the Pirates. Had pitched well with the Mariners, has had forearm and elbow problems. The other one is Tristan McKenzie, who was a hot, promising Cleveland Guardians prospect, but has had rough patches the last 2 years. Those are the two most notable names that might be on the periphery of maybe they pitch themselves onto the staff. A total of 9 pitchers of the 20 free agents that the Padres have signed. Preller said, we want to add 2 more players, 2 more pitchers, and a right-handed bat. Could be first baseman, could be designated hitter. The other aspect is the Yu Darvish situation, and Preller just talked openly about his respect for Darvish. He's going to give Darvish his space before he makes his decision. Darvish is owed another 14 to 16 million this year. He's owed 3 years worth of contract. I believe they're going to ask him to take a massive pay cut and give him some money to be a consultant. And then maybe, I propose, give him the rest of the money deferred next year if he comes back and pitches next season. And if he never pitches again, figure a way to get some sort of buyout from the $43 million total. So there's money out there that they could use, but only after it's negotiated. Maybe it's going to take through all the spring training with the Darvish situation. Craig Stammen at the Padres Fan Fest told the fans and the media, Gavin Sheets is my starting first baseman. At this point, we don't have a DH. We're going to rotate all the veterans. That would mean Machado might be DH, Tatis might be DH, Bogarts might be DH to give the veteran players some time off their feet during the course of the regular season. Now, that could change if they make a deal and they get another outfielder, another first baseman, another guy that could be part of a rotation at designated hitter. Craig Stammen says Luis Campusano will compete for the starting catcher's job. He says he's improved as a catcher. Got to prove he can hit major league pitching, has not done that. And Nick Pivetta told Stammen he is bypassing the WBC, will not pitch for Team Canada, goes to spring training, and will concentrate on Padres opening day. So that's what came out of Padre Fan Fest. I've thrown a lot there on the bulletin board. John, go ahead and talk about Preller's contract, talk about the need for pitching, or is it a bigger need for a DH? Talk about the fact they haven't signed anybody outside of the odd name or two that I mentioned. And then the whole Darvish thing just continues to go on and on.
Comment on this, comment on that. There's a lot there. So on his contract, I remember I said that like a week or two ago that I thought that Preller was seriously just really busy right now and didn't really want to think about the contract, because he's working these deals on the phone. But you say that's BS because he has agents and so you're just getting a little bit of propaganda from him at Padres State of the Union.
Yeah, I just tend to think this is on ownership. If you wanted to sign him, you'd have him signed. You come to a deal, you just work through the agent. Is he on the phone all the time? Is he traveling? Yes. But you come through the agent, you work your way through that. So I don't buy this theory. He's too busy. My theory, I think, is they're playing wait and see. Ownership, wait and see if this is a great year, or wait and see if we sell the franchise, let the new owner come in the front door and let him make the decision as to who he wants to be the general manager. You don't think that's rational?
It is rational. I mean, there's a certain segment of Padres, fans that don't like Preller at all. Wanted him fired 8 years ago. Thought he gave away the farm, multiple times, which we've talked about. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic because the new owners are going to want their guys. But to talk about the roster, you had mentioned Paul Goldschmidt, a few weeks ago as a potential guy. And I've been following this on Padre Twitter. They're like, yeah, that could actually work.
He's still out there.
Because the splits, the righty-lefty splits are just so extreme for not only for Goldschmidt, but for Sheets.
Yep.
So maybe that would make sense. And then even, the other guy could be another one of the dudes in the DH round. So that could work. But overall, I think Padres Twitter was really upset that there's a number of free agents that have come off the board that the Padres didn't sign. I know we're going to talk about that later, but it just seemed like, Eugenio Suarez going for $15 million. That's a deal that maybe the Padres could have made.
No, not for $15 million. Not when they're almost to their limit payroll wise.
Well, Preller said that they were willing to increase payroll,
but that's in increments. That's not $15 million with an option for 1 year for a guy who doesn't play very much defensively.
Well, we'd only need him for like a little bit of first and DH.
Yeah. No. With apologies in advance, you're spending way too much time reacting to Padre fan on Twitter.
Well, but it's just an interesting, you kind of get the vibe,
vibe is, I want Nick Castellanos.
Well,
that's $20 million. Where's that money coming from?
There are certain Padre fans that think you can trade a couple of prospects for Aaron Judge.
What prospects?
That's BS, right? But there are like a lot of very smart guys that are in Padre Twitter online. I mean, I give them credit. And so it was an interesting topic of discussion over the weekend.
Okay, they're entitled to their opinion, even though, is there enough room in left field for all their opinions plus yours? So anyhow, that's where we are with
I'm
Padre.
Just channeling the voice of the fan, my friend.
Okay, that's where we are with the Padres situation right now. I mean, when your free agent acquisitions in the offseason are Marco Gonzalez coming off surgeries, and Tristan McKenzie, and that's the marquee group. Wow.
No,
They haven't filled their holes.
He's
Granted,
going to still sign someone else.
well, yeah, exactly. He said there will be another deal or two, but they've only got this much money left that they do, unless they get the Darvish money. And if the Darvish money comes in, it's a bigger amount.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. That's all things Padres. Fans Forum chat box is open. We are baseball centric on this podcast. Feel free, jump on board. Are you aghast that we're this deep into the offseason, about to go to spring training, and he signed only 2 guys that I know and recognize, and the rest of them are prospects, rejects, suspects? Go ahead. Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from that. Next topic, the Dodgers.
Are you aghast? All right, let's talk about the Dodgers and the Halos. Looking at pitching.
Okay, let's run through the set of storylines. They haven't talked about it extensively. Blake Snell did. Blake Snell's not ready for spring training.
No.
He has suffered shoulder fatigue through the course of the offseason and is probably not going to be ready for opening day. Now, he threw 35 pretty high-impact innings in the postseason and the playoffs, getting through the World Series, shut it down. He said he had shoulder woes off and on during the course of the season. So that's an issue. Blake Snell. Ohtani has been told you will not pitch in the World Baseball Classic. Ohtani will only be a designated hitter. The Dodgers have told Roki Sasaki, you will not pitch in the World Baseball Classic. You're to concentrate spring training here, developing a third pitch so you can be part of the rotation. Speaking thereof, Dave Roberts indicated at their FanFest they're likely to start the season with a 6-man rotation because of the Snell situation, with Sasaki on maybe a bit of an innings limit, etc. And Freddie Freeman also announced he's bypassing the WBC because of family issues. He was supposed to represent Team Canada. World Baseball Classic has got an issue. There's an issue with a lot of Caribbean players unable to get insurance. The guys from Puerto Rico, from Venezuela, are really upset that they've not been able to get insurance, and clubs are not going to let these guys go who've had injuries without insurance from outside. If they went to the WBC and got hurt, these clubs say, we don't want to have to pay them on that. And again, last time we had the WBC, there were a whole flurry of pitchers who got hurt in the World Baseball Classic.
I remember Edwin Diaz.
Exactly.
Yeah, blew out his knee.
Jumping up and down.
Mm-hmm.
The last Dodger topic, big debate. They have been invited to the White House to celebrate the World Series. And the burning question amongst the players, do we want to go to the White House and be linked to that guy? That guy, your president. There was big debate last time the Dodgers went, and they went for the players' experience. There's a lot more players now of the opinion, do we want to be linked to Donald Trump? As if we're standing next to him, that we're all friends and we all subscribe to everything he's doing. And there's a bunch of players that are saying maybe we shouldn't do it at this point in time. So that bears interesting to see where that conversation is going to go, because the tone of the conversation to me is a lot more serious now than it was the last time the Dodgers went to the World Series, because he's now into his second term, and we all know the check boxes of all the things he's done that have offended a hell of a lot of people in the States and around the globe. And the Dodgers now are asking themselves, because this came up at FanFest, do we want to stand next to that guy in the White House for what he represents? Go ahead, John, respond. Dodger baseball.
I love your political takes. Okay, so let's start from the beginning of the commentary. So Blake Snell, what the hell? I mean, this guy always starts the season slow. Didn't he have an injury like a year or two ago where you couldn't really pitch in the beginning? That was last year, wasn't it? Because he didn't Snell like only return until the middle of the season.
And of course, he had issues in San Francisco for half the year.
Yeah. So, and then, the World Series was like 3 months ago. How do you have like shoulder fatigue from the World Series? Makes me wonder if the Dodgers are just sort of slow walking this, that it's really a load management strategy, that they give a fake reason for an injury. Do you think that's possible?
I don't know. You can't put a guy on the disabled list. You can't fake an injury. There has to be documentation.
Well, they'll figure out a way that say, his arm got a little sore throwing the football around on the beach or something, So it's just, they have so many pitchers. You said they were going to go with a 6-man rotation. I mean, the Dodgers could legitimately, if everyone were healthy, have like a 9-man rotation. So they have to kind of find places to put those extra dudes. You send them, to Oklahoma City, or you put them on the injured list, or they're on bereavement, or they're on, paternity leave.
Okay, you're looking for different reasons. You don't believe it's Snell's alien.
No, I just wonder why. Why does this seem to happen to him a lot?
I concur.
Is it just his personality? Does he not work out in the off season? Why is he not ready? And even if he is ready, why does he always have a slow start?
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
Ohtani cannot pitch. WBC. Sasaki cannot pitch. What do you think?
Yeah, at first I was like kind of bumming about that, but then I thought about it, really, this is about, representing your team, your country, in this case. It's not that big of a deal. If some of these pitchers are not representing their nation, the fans are still going to be able to have a great experience watching the WBC. Now, from the Dodgers' point of view, this is great. They don't have to risk their guys.
Well, Ohtani is going to DH.
Well, that's no risk. That's no problem. It's just very cordial of Team Japan to kind of go along with it, because Team Japan, I think they probably realize that Ohtani pitching in the playoffs and World Series is a bigger global deal than the WBC.
And Sasaki, you will not pitch.
Yeah, same reasons. I mean, he's still delicate, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, there's still a lot of reservations about him being fully developed.
Yeah, it just sounds like we're talking about a guy in puberty, and he looks like that. Hey, by the way, on the whole Trump thing, didn't they had that debate last year? Remember Kershaw kind of got his guys together and said, this is about the presidency, the president of the United States, regardless of who the president is. And a lot of the guys went, but there's a lot that's happened in the last 12 months. Yes. And so there's a lot of reasons, even if you're looking at it objectively, there's a lot of reasons why you might consider not going this time. So hopefully the Dodgers just say, hey man, we just saw you last year. We hope to see you for the 3-peat, maybe something like that.
Okay. Angels. This one came off the top of my head. To see what happens when we don't sleep a lot. Do you remember this phrase as it relates to the Statue of Liberty? This phrase kind of links to where we are at this hour with Angel Baseball.
Oh.
Send me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, your wretched, your homelessless. Lift my lamp to them.
That's awesome.
The Angels have signed 20 street free agents. 14 of them are pitchers. Most of them are rehab cases. Some are can't miss or did miss prospects. Some last chance saloon. It's unbelievable. And the Angels just signed another free agent outfielder, Jose Siri. Once upon a time, hot prospect, Tampa Bay, was with the Mets last year. He's going to be your center fielder. Got a glove, can run like hell, but he hit 206. This came after they traded for another center fielder, Josh Lowe. Once upon a time, pretty good power guy, Tampa Bay. He hit 222 last year. This came after they picked up Vaughn Grissom, second baseman, shortstop. Once upon a time, hot prospect, Atlanta Braves. Red Sox gave up on him. And this after they acquired 5 veteran pitchers, all who have had arm problems. Is it unfair of me to say that's their new mantra? Send me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, your wretched, your homeless. God, that looks like the 20 guys they've added to their roster.
I just have this image of a black and white photo of like people from Eastern Europe lined up at Ellis Island,
lined up at the Angels.
Yeah,
Stadium.
and those are all the Angel pitchers and free agents
with their suitcases.
It's actually perfect, and it's right on the back end of talking about Trump, which is kind of funny how this is all linked together. But that is exactly the appropriate passage. I mean, that's well done.
That's where we are as spring training opens if you're a Halo fan. So feel free, Padre fan, Dodger fan, you want to go to the White House, stand next to that guy and what that guy represents? Angel fan, the Statue of Liberty phrase, does it fit everything around Arte Moreno, John Carpino's team right now? Yikes. Fans forum chat box is open. Your opinions are invited. We go from that Last-minute deals.
Last-minute deals, and one of our Padres landed in San Francisco.
Luis Ariz is going to play for the Giants. 1 year, took a little bit of a pay cut, $12 million. He's going to play second base. He's not going to play first base. And the thing that intrigues me, he had a substandard season last year. Most everybody would kill to hit 281 or 277, whatever he hit. But again, career 317 hitter, 3-time Major League batting average champion. The thing that I find so intriguing, they got a pretty good batting order in that lineup. Chapman, Ariz, Willie Adames, and Ralph Devers. That's pretty good hitting infield.
Yeah, for an infield, it's great.
And where do they play? The spacious ballpark. Man, he's going to be spraying balls in all those power alleys.
Yeah.
I bet he has a bounce back nickel and dime, lots of singles season. So anyhow, Giants get Ariz. Atlanta has been signing a ton of pitchers. Signs ex-Padre pitcher Martin Perez, who was with the White Sox last season. He had forearm problems again. He's not what he used to be when he was with the Texas Rangers. Speaking of Texas, they signed ex-Padre starting pitcher Cal Quantrill. He's kind of bounced around. Red Sox, Miami last year, he had some shoulder problems at the tail end of the season. The Reds got Eugenio Suarez, 49 home runs. But the reason the guy was unsigned up until this weekend, the 1st of February, he just is a guy without a position, does not have a great glove, only hit 229 last season, but he did hit 49 bombs. He's going back to Cincinnati where he kind of established himself as a power guy, and that's kind of a perfect fit for him, Suarez, a Great American Ballpark. So that might be a win-win situation. White Sox have signed Austin Hayes, former power hitting prospect, was with the Orioles and with the Mets. And the Yankees, shopping for pitching, are talking to ex-Padre Nick Martinez and ex-Dodger closer Michael Kopech. But obviously the big signing right now is the signing of Luis Ariz. Still out there, unsigned, Framber Valdez, still out there, Zach Gallen. But those guys all want big money. So,
yeah, they do. They do. I mean, those guys deserve big money. But it is interesting here. I mean, Luis Ariz, I mean, you know, as a Padre fans, I remember we were so excited when he showed up. And then you kind of began to realize, okay, yeah, he's a 3-time batting champion, but, you know, he's not all that.
He's not complete.
And he's got so many deficiencies. He's definitely like just a one-trick pony. But he's really fun, you know, to watch him spray the ball around. So one of my buddies is up in San Francisco, and he was asking me, what do you think of Ariz? You know, he didn't know the detail. He just knows 3-time batting champ, batted like 280 something and was a little below average. Maybe he'll hit like 330 or whatever. But there's a lot more going on here with Ariz.
Well, they're going to move him to a different position.
But he's very weak at second base.
Well, but, you know, he made himself, that was the thing I found really unique. He made himself a pretty decent first baseman. I mean, he didn't give up a lot of runs. He didn't make a lot of mistakes playing at first base. I thought that transition was not full of pain. I thought he played a competitive first base for the Padres. So, but he wants to go back to second. I don't think he's a great second baseman. In fact, I think he might be a better first baseman, but the negative is he's short. He's really short to be a first baseman.
Well, that's what they were talking about with the Padres, is that you know, Xander and Machado are going to be so happy to have a big target at first base with Gavin Sheets. So there's just so many little things with Ariz that he's a great guy. I mean, I really like him, the man. And I like that he's kind of like a specialized little tool that a lot of teams just don't have a guy like that. But, you know, he's going to be stuck in this range, these 1-year deals. You got to kind of prove it every year.
Yeah. $14 million for a singles hitter who's got other deficiencies. That's an awful lot of money.
That's a tough one.
Last note, this is kind of cool. We're going towards baseball, and one of the subtopics with the start of spring training and then into the regular season is going to be TV contracts and what's going to happen, etc. NBC is loaded the gun. Now, they're going to have Sunday Night Baseball as part of this new deal that Rob Manfred's worked out for the next 3 years. They've just hired Bob Costas, Clayton Kershaw, Joey Votto, and Anthony Rizzo to be part of Sunday Night Baseball's pregame show and play-by-play. So they're going to really make the event, Sunday Night Baseball, must-see TV. That means probably the Sacramento A's won't be on there, and the Miami Marlins will hopefully won't be on there.
Sacramento A's.
But that it's really intriguing. I mean, that's quite an investment to have these three just retired ball players, all personalities, to work with Costas, who's kind of making a comeback when Costas was a legend at the turn of the decade with all things NBC. That's cool. And by the way, speaking of TV rights, it happened this morning. 6 more teams bailed out on FanDuel, the money-troubled TV network, including, off the top of my head, I can't remember them all. I believe Atlanta, St. Louis, Detroit. Anyhow, I think there's now 15 teams that have taken their rights to follow the Padres, who were the first one to do it, under the MLB umbrella.
Interesting.
Wednesday might be the day that FanDuel files for total bankruptcy and shutters it down.
Wow.
So it's bad. And amongst those that have yet to make a decision, the Angels don't have a TV contract.
Still?
There's 3 clubs.
So Angels.
3 clubs don't have a TV contract, but 6 more today jump ship.
Yeah, man, someone called Ted Turner. Let's get the Braves back on WTBS. Remember that?
Yeah, exactly. That's way back.
Yeah, that was awesome. I remember I was like the early 80s, and I went to my girlfriend's house, and her dad had the TV on watching the Braves games. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, this was back when the Giants were only on TV like a couple times a month.
Yep.
I mean, it was a great thing. But, as far as the Sunday night baseball, Costas loves baseball.
Sure.
I mean, that's the sport you can tell he loves the most, even though he's a Mr. Do Everything. But Kershaw is a quality dude. I think he's going to be great. I know Votto is a personality and really witty. I don't know enough about Rizzo, so I'm looking forward to learning more.
Quiet, reserved, classy, but they're all really good. What fits in? It's obvious to me NBC is going to make Sunday Night Baseball an event.
Excellent. Right on.
So that's where we are. All things baseball. Feel free. Jump on board. What's your reaction to Arise going to San Francisco? That's a ballpark made for him. Dude's going to be spraying that ball. Do you know how big that freaking outfield is?
Hey, he's the sprinkler.
Yeah, just exactly. Feel free to join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from all things baseball because we know football. Let's talk about Super Bowl week, John.
Super Bowl Sunday is this week.
Travel day yesterday. Teams are there. Commissioner's press conference this afternoon. Team media day tonight. Seahawks, Patriots, and the people that put them in this position. And just give you a couple brief comments. Thursday, we're going to break down the game, X's and O's. But we're talking about the people responsible for why this has happened. What a job Vrabel has done in New England. Changed the roster, mandating these are the guys I think we can win with. Changed the culture. This is who we are, and this is what we're going to dedicate every hour, every minute in this building to, and look at the end result. And he's influenced these players in terms of their mindset and their preparation. There is a bond, there's a camaraderie, there's a sales pitch that Vrabel has impressed on every one of these players, whether it's the young guy, the quarterback, or it's the vested veteran that he's given a last chance to. He brought in 9 veteran free agent starters from other clubs that most people thought were at the end of the road. And then they drafted really well. They got 3 draft picks, all starting playing virtually every snap, 2 of them in the offensive line. Now, he's done a good job, and so is Mike McDonald, second-year head coach. But you would expect that, because where did he come from? He came off the John Harbaugh Baltimore Ravens tree. And he brought that playbook, and he brought that philosophy. He brought that toughness, and they've done a really good job. Now, there's a unique aspect, though, to McDonald in Seattle compared to Vrabel in Foxborough. Seattle's walking down that road for the first time. A lot of young guys who have never, ever been there. And that's a big challenge as I view it. And I'll tell you what, from my experiences as voice of the Chargers going to the Super Bowl the first time, you've never been there before. That trip just overwhelms you. It is full of distractions. It challenges your concentration. It impacts your game preparation. They've already installed the whole game plan back at their facilities last week, first week of the off was this is what we're running against these guys. We're going to practice. But you get here the second week, and there's so much other stuff that's going on. Drake May, shoulder impingement. I don't think that's a problem because he just continues to play and get better as the game goes on. Sam Darnold has now had 3 full weeks of intense treatment for the oblique, and the oblique was not a problem as he outgunned Matthew Stafford in that NFC Championship game win. But I will tell you, these two guys come from different directions, and you got one guy with a world of experience because Vrabel's been to the playoffs a ton of times and won a ring with Belichick, and now he's imparting all that wisdom and knowledge. And McDonald may have been in Baltimore, but this is the first time he's calling all the shots and the first time his guys are walking through that building, getting ready to play a game. And I will tell you from personal experience, as a voice of the Chargers, when we played the 49ers in 1995, and I never understood it until I saw it happen in front of my eyes. Players who have never experienced Super Bowl week get lost. They get lost with distractions. They get lost because friends are contacting them, families are contacting them, there's parties they want to go to, and suddenly you're not prepared. And then all of a sudden, Steve Young goes 3 plays, touchdown pass, 3 plays, touchdown pass. It's 14-0 after 6 snaps. And my God, they got hit by a bolt of lightning, and they never, ever recovered. And Bobby Ross told me about that years later, that he just could not corral his players to do this, which is what Vrabel's got the Pats doing, and what Mike McDonald should be concerned about. Guys, their first time and this, that, party, distraction, friends, family, etc. If I saw it, I witnessed it. I said, my God, how could this happen? But it can happen. So anyhow, John, just off the top, that's how I view the Seahawks, the Patriots, and the trigger men, the guys, the most important people that put all these together.
You know, I've never heard that story before about Bobby Ross and the guys distracted. It makes a lot of sense, you know, because you hear about this where, you know, from other broadcasters will talk about it. You know, oh, it's a busy week, Super Bowl Sunday. There's going to be family. Everyone asking for tickets and everything else. But I've never heard a coach say that.
Said it to me.
Well, said it to you, but he said it, you know, so he recognizes he can look those guys straight in the eyes, and he can tell if they're mentally with him or if they're mentally somewhere else. That's wild. But by the way, this 2-week timeline for the Super Bowl is terrible. They should get back to 1 week, because right now it's February 2nd. I'm already thinking about spring training. College basketball is really ramping up. There's the NBA's cooking. And I'm like, oh yeah, we still have this other Super Bowl game. And so if you're not like a big Seahawks-Patriots fan, then it just seems like it's sort of anticlimactic.
Yeah, but you can worry about that other stuff on Monday. When the game is over Sunday night by 8 p.m., if you want to gravitate towards Cactus League and the Grapefruit Circuit, or what's next in the NBA, because then we got March Madness, you can gravitate in that direction. But the 2-week bye is all about hype. It's all about controlling the message.
Well, you would know all about hype.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you still going to go to your little cul-de-sac party and eat all their shrimp?
Well, I bring food too, and we all party, and then I go home and watch the game in the quiet.
I love this.
And then at halftime, I go back and have second helpings of all the food that we brought, and then I go back and watch the second half at home. That's the way I do it.
You're at home. I don't want any distractions. You're taking notes.
That's
the whole
right.
Thing.
I
it's
do.
Great.
I've tried to watch Super Bowls at parties, and it's too noisy, and there's too many other things going on.
Too much going on.
Little kids running and fighting and crying in front of you, and I'm trying to understand what they're saying on TV. So now it's a little bit different. But so, do you buy my theory? New England, been there, done that. Seattle, first time, baby.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. You know, speaking of experience, sitting there in a broadcast booth doing that game in Miami, and the Chargers got hit by that bolt of lightning, and they never recovered.
No, I mean, when halftime hit, it was over at halftime.
It finished 49-21, I believe, or 49-26.
Yeah, so the actual score in that game looks a lot better than how it felt the whole day.
Chargers are running uphill from the get-go.
Yeah.
And every time they'd make a play to get back in the game, like it was 14-0, just like that.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I'll never forget Jim Laslovic turning to me in the radio booth during a commercial. And I said, my God, we're in trouble. And Pat Curran was speechless. He could not speak. And then the Chargers came out and went down the field running the football and scored with Natron Means, pounded it. So it was 14-7. I said, we're back in it. We got it under control. And the ensuing kickoff, they took back for a score.
They did.
And it was 21-7.
It was awful. I mean, I just remember I was up at a pub in San Marcos with some friends, and it was just brutal.
And they were running uphill, and then Stan Humphries had to throw, and yet they were completing some passes, and he threw a touchdown pass to Mark Say in the end zone that would have gotten him 7 points closer, and clank, he dropped it.
We're so old. I mean, we're lamenting a Super Bowl over 30 years ago.
Well,
now, granted, you were doing play-by-play at the
in my
Super
heart.
Bowl. I mean, for you, that's a lifetime moment. But it is funny that we're remembering the detail of a game over 30 years ago.
You know, the saddest thing to me, we're going to move on to the next topic. The saddest thing to me, it's like this community has forgotten it. They've ignored it.
They have.
It's just, I don't understand it. I mean, it was a highlight. Now, granted, it didn't end well, just like the Padres 2 World Series appearances haven't ended well. Maybe it's the end result because our soul was crushed when Spanos' first family of football moved the franchise to Los Angeles. Maybe that was the crushing blow of all time.
Oh, still hurts, man.
Oh,
it still hurts.
I concur.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all things Super Bowl prep, Super Bowl storylines. And I will also tell you, 2 guys who really deserve a hell of a lot of credit, nobody pay any attention to on Sunday. Eli Wolf, who was the vice president of player personnel, a.k.a. general manager of the Patriots. He's the son of Ron Wolf, the legendary Green Bay and Raider general manager, was a great executive. So Eli Wolf has done a really good job with Vrabel. And the other is John Schneider. He walked in there with a franchise that was falling apart, and he rebuilt it twice into the Super Bowl, once with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, and now with Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold. He totally rebuilt the roster, and he's done it a lot through the draft. So
that's hard to do.
Those are 2 guys who probably won't get mentioned very much, but tell you what, Eli Wolf's done a nice job, and I bet his dad's really proud. And obviously what John Schneider's done, nobody outside of probably the 216 area code in Seattle, I don't think anybody's paying attention to the job that John Schneider's done. Okay, that's all things Super Bowl. If you got an opinion, feel free, jump on board. And do you agree with me? Isn't it an absolute shame that we're dealing with a situation that this community has totally forgotten and ignored that our franchise, the San Diego Chargers, were in the Super Bowl? Because nobody talks about it ever.
Yeah, there's still, it's like still a bitter divorce, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we try to erase it from our memory sometimes.
Okay, we move on. NFL Notebook.
Yeah, talking about coaches still on the move.
Yeah, let's just move through this. Raiders, last team job opening. The Raiders have yet to hire a head coach. That's because Arizona, late last night, hired their head coach, Mike LaFleur, Rams passing game coordinator, quarterback coach. So Mike LaFleur will go into Arizona. That means Clint Kubiak is the guy. If Clint Kubiak wants to work for those people, that becomes the burning question. Kubiak now cannot be talked to, can't negotiate specifics of a contract, but he's the last man standing, and the Raiders are the last team without a head coach. They interviewed 17 different people, but Kubiak, he's had great success. And the most unique thing this morning, I just found out Kubiak's been with 6 teams in 6 years.
Really?
He's just jumped all over the place, working with young quarterbacks, playbook, etc. So that's where we are. I would expect after the Super Bowl, Kubiak takes the Raider job after Arizona decided to not wait and hire Mike LaFleur of the Rams. Vikings. This is controversial. They fire Kwesi Mensah, their 4th-year general manager. Now, you would have thought at the end of the season, if you did not like your front office, you would make that move then. But they waited 4 weeks, and they fired Mensah, who they just gave a contract extension to a year ago. Evidently, there was a really bad power struggle there about whose roster is it. And Mensah had the final say on everything. Not Kevin O'Connell. Mensah was making all the decisions on his own. And Mensah is the one that didn't solve the quarterback issue with Kirk Cousins. He left. Didn't solve the quarterback contract extension for Sam Darnold. He waited. He left. Did not get it done to keep Daniel Jones, who went to Indianapolis, and then engineered the trade up to get J.J. McCarthy, who's got a live arm and a history of getting hurt and has not really accomplished much in 2 years. Ownership just got tired of Mensa's poor leadership as it relates to player personnel decisions, coupled in with some really shabby draft choices. So they're going to hire a new general manager, but Kevin O'Connell is going to have some impact in that situation. Going to be interesting to see where this goes in Pittsburgh. It's been fascinating to see what the Steelers have done. We talked last week about Mike McCarthy's homecoming. And boy, people in Pittsburgh are excited about this guy wanting to be here with this club, knowing what Steeler football means to the city of Pittsburgh. He just hired Patrick Graham, who many people thought did a good job in a wretched situation with the Raiders as defensive coordinator. Graham's been around the league a long time. They brought him in. They just hired Justin Simmons, a former really good defensive back who became a DB coach at a young age. They brought him in. They brought in a Green Bay Packer offensive line coach, pretty good reputation, in James Campen. And they're interviewing Scott Tolzien, who developed the kid quarterback down in New Orleans this year. They're interviewing him for the offensive coordinator's job. So all of a sudden, Pittsburgh looking at Mike McCarthy and saying, wow, he's really bringing in guys that we know or have heard about that evidently people around the league have respect for. Philadelphia just blows my mind. Why are the Eagles not playing this next weekend? That team with all that talent. Philadelphia just hired Sean Mannion as offensive coordinator. He had been with the Green Bay Packers. He had moved around the league, kind of a smart guy, played at Oregon State, got out of playing football early, got into coaching. He's been hired as the offensive coordinator in Cleveland. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I should say Sean Mannion is interviewing and was just hired in Philadelphia. I got sidetracked. So Mannion is in Philadelphia going in as the offensive coordinator for Sirianni. Cleveland, in a bit of a strange hire, just hired Travis Switzer to be their offensive coordinator. Who? Quarterback coach, Baltimore Ravens. And Cleveland's still trying to put out the fire with Jim Schwartz, who announced he was leaving. He's got 2 years left on his contract. And Cleveland does not want him to leave, but he says, I don't want to be here. You did not promote me to the head coaching job. So that Cleveland storyline is really interesting. Rams, a lot of news this morning, a lot of news last night. Rams this morning just gave 3-year contract extensions to Sean McVay and Les Snead. So
well-deserved.
Damn right. 92 and 57 since those guys joined hands together. Also hired a pretty vocal, pretty good special teams coordinator. And special teams a disaster with the Rams. Bubba Ventrone. He comes from the Cleveland Browns. Denver Broncos, they're keeping Davis Webb. They've elevated him. He interviewed for head coaching jobs at 3 places, didn't get them. They elevated him. He's going to be the offensive coordinator to Sean Payton. And they're a little bit concerned in Denver. There's been a real brain drain. They've lost a bunch of assistant coaches on Payton's staff. Tampa Bay, say a prayer. Bruce Arians is undergoing open heart surgery on Friday, very seriously ill. Former Tampa Bay Buck and Arizona Cardinal. And the last topic on the table, are you ready for this? To quote the man from left field, you got technology, use it, get the damn play right.
Exactly.
Instant Replays Competition Committee this week, meeting during Super Bowl week, is going to evaluate throw the flag rule, in which the booth upstairs can stop the game and evaluate plays in which there was a face mask, a helmet hit, a roughing the quarterback passer, a flagrant hit away from the ball. They can stop that, and they can message down to the referee, you missed a play, throw a delayed flag. I think this is going to go in. There's so much screaming about late hits, the Matthew Stafford face mask.
Oh, yeah.
At the critical part of that Seattle game. That I think they're going to impose this, I call it throw the flag rule, that the booth upstairs can stop play and do a quick evaluation and then call down and say, you missed it, throw the flag. I like that.
Ah,
Okay, so
it's
John,
like the booth has a flag.
exactly. John, start with the Raiders and work your way through.
Yeah, let's go. I want to talk about this Kubiak thing. And first of all, you said he's the last man standing, but it makes it seem like the Raiders are getting the one guy that no one picked at the dance, you know? So why weren't the Raiders in on some of these big name coaches? Are they thinking that Kubiak and Fernando Mendoza are going to be part of Tom Brady's long-term plan?
They interviewed a bunch of defensive guys out of the gate. Some of them are African American, so we checked off those boxes on the Rooney Rule. But then they stopped, and then they started interviewing offensive guys. The Rams' hot young coordinator, Shieldhouse.
Yeah.
And then Kubiak. Now, Kubiak, because Seattle was in the playoffs, there were small windows in which you could get to Kubiak, and everybody was trying to get to Kubiak. So the Raiders bided their time. They must see more in Kubiak and his success story every place he's been. Like I said, 6 jobs in 6 years. Wow. He's moved all over the country. But he's had success with a lot of different quarterbacks. And they must have just bided their time. And then sales pitched him. They met with him Friday night and then all day Saturday. And I was led to believe he was supposed to go to Arizona Saturday night, and instead he never got there. So I got to believe they're going to lock this down once Seattle is out of the playoffs. But it's evident to me he's proven on his resume how he can coach offenses, do X's and O's, and upgrade quarterbacks. And they go get Mendoza, and they got to fix the offensive line, and they got all the dynamics of all the guys that he's inheriting at tight end, and obviously with Genti at running back. Be interested to see how quickly they can bring that together. And they do have 11 draft picks, and they have $106 million, I believe, in cap space still.
Okay. I mean, I got to put my trust in Brady. I mean, because I'm not sure who to trust there for decades. I mean, so just I'm worried that they're not really getting their guy. But it is interesting that, you know, it's all these legacy names. Kubiak, and there's a Shanahan, another LaFleur. We got the Harbaughs.
Yep.
And I remember, was it Buddy Ryan, his son, you know, that coached the Jets, right?
Yep.
You know, so it's interesting how family names carry on through coaching, even if that particular player, like Clint Kubiak, I mean, did he even play college football? He must have.
He must have, but who knows?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But he came off Gary Kubiak's tree.
Yeah, and I love the tree thing. That's unique to the NFL. We don't really talk about that in other sports. So it's neat that there's a coaching trees. And then, by the way, with the Vikings, really, it was this Mensa guy that created this whole quarterback mess.
Yes.
Because a lot of people speculated that it was, you know, O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell was the one that picked the wrong quarterback in this case.
Mensa had total control of the roster.
Wow, that's interesting news.
O'Connell might walk in the meeting and say, I recommend we do this, and Mensa was doing other stuff.
Right. That's like a power trip or something.
Yep.
You got to have a collaborative decision.
Yeah, well, it goes around a lot of places in the NFL.
Really? Wow, power trip, man.
Okay, that's all things. You like the replay thing, right? Get the damn play right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just get it right. Man, I'll just go get another beer out of the fridge and all's good.
Okay, we are at halftime. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. You know, they've been in business more than 100 years. Lots of reasons to go to DIXIELINE. I'll let John roll one of the videos and talk about what he wants to talk about, but I use DIXIELINE. He uses DIXIELINE here in his castle here at his gated estate. And if you got home projects, you want to use DIXIELINE too. John, take it from there.
You know, I have a good story to tell about DIXIELINE right now. And I'm going to play this video of, you know, some new home construction. You know that DIXIELINE is like really focused on helping out the people in Pacific Palisades and in Altadena, that are having to rebuild from the fire. And so it's really cool. Some of the things they're doing, they're offering like discounts on lumber. They're providing free consultation in some of these cases to do design work, you know, kind of sort of that, almost like an AutoCAD program, you know, kind of sketch out how you want the home to be built. They're offering a lot of specialized services for people here in Southern California that had to rebuild from the fires. And so I think it's kind of neat where DIXIELINE has been in San Diego for 100 years, but they're part of Builders First Source. And that's the brand that's up in Altadena and in Pacific Palisades that's taking care of them. And this is a nationwide lumber company, and they're deeply integrated in what's going on here in Southern California. So DIXIELINE has presence in San Diego County, up in a little bit of Orange County, but then it's Builders First Source territory north of there, and they're helping rebuild SoCal.
Like we say, They've got material. They can give you ideas. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. Just a couple of notes when we are done with topics on the table, because we do sports talk the way it should be done. It's your turn to take it over. John, for everybody that's new to this podcast or watching it, Fans Forum works for everybody that's with us on the live stream, but how does it work?
How does it work? Well, I mean, you got to get on the live chat. So if you're watching the live stream, that means you're watching it on Facebook, on X, or on YouTube. So just jump on board. Just type in your question or comment for Hacksaw. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
A couple of other notes. You can really help us grow. Hit the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. You can do that while you're watching this podcast. It really helps us a great deal. Also, if you like sports, I write about it every day of the week. NFL Notebook, Major League Baseball, what's gone on in the NBA, hockey, you name it, I write about it. That's on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's their first thing every morning on the internet. It's absolutely free. I guarantee if you check it the first thing every morning, you'll get hooked. You'll want to read it every morning. And by the way, John and I send out 2 sports newsletters a day. You can register to get on the email list. You join our insiders group. That's right, the big orange box right on the homepage of my website. Just fill it out, get on the email list. You'll get 2 newsletters every day of the week. Also share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you get the alert when we put additional videos up. We put a lot of videos up, 5 to 10 videos per week in addition to the podcast. So make sure you do that. And you're on Twitter. You're on X. Hell, I know you are because you write about me all the time. I just want you to join my Twitter all-star team on X. Just type in Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, follow, or my handle is @Hacksaw1090. Hit the follow button. I cover it all?
You did, man. You're a fire hose of sports content, and you're everywhere.
Damn right. And so we thank you for being part of this. This is phenomenal growth. We're headed towards our 4th year doing this podcast together. Okay, John, let's move to the second half because we're going to jump around a lot of other topics.
Yeah, we got some NBA trade deadline action.
Boy, I tell you what, it's going to be very interesting to see what transpires between now and Friday. That's a trade deadline, and there's a lot of storylines out there. Cavaliers made the first big trade over the weekend heading towards the deadline. They moved off guard DeAndre Hunter. He goes, along with young guard Keon Ellis, they go to Sacramento in a deal for Dennis Schroeder, guard M. Miller, and 2 second-round draft picks. This kind of a bit of a surprise deal. The Cavaliers got rid of Andre Hunter and Keon Ellis. The Lakers were interested in both those guys, but the Lakers did not have the right components to make the deal happen. So that's the first big deal going towards Friday's NBA trade deadline. The Lakers are talking to a lot of people. They don't have much to trade, but what they have, they're evidently going to put in a box and say, would you like this? They're shopping Rui Hachimura, Dalton Knecht, former number 1 draft pick, and a second-round pick. That's all they have. They thought they were in the running to maybe get Keon Ellis. That did not work out of Sacramento. They were after the Cleveland guard. That did not work to get DeAndre Hunter. They're still out there shopping. Latest name, and I like this guy. You probably have seen him play because he was out here on the West Coast for a little bit. A little bit of a snotty attitude. Sticks his nose in it. Can shoot 3. Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, he was on the Warriors, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're talking to Minnesota about DiVincenzo in a deal for Hachimura, who I've grown to like. I think he's a pretty good player if they keep him healthy. Knecht, who's failed, and a second-round draft pick. Clippers have had a really hot stretch. I think 16 wins in the last 20 games. But they're shopping John Collins, who's about to get traded again. He's played better after a very slow start. But what they're shopping is not so much the player. They're shopping the expiring contract, $18 million. Somebody would trade for him and maybe give the Clippers a number 1 pick. So the Clippers will get into rebuild mode with more picks. Collins will go somewhere, take his $18 million, which expires at the end of the season, and that club would have $18 million cap space. So that's interesting that the Clippers are going to maybe move Collins in a deal. All that conversation's nice, but we're sitting there waiting to see what's going to transpire with Giannis. Milwaukee's been contacted now by 14 teams. Giannis told the Milwaukee Bucks last week, it's time to move. And I think Milwaukee is going to try to make a deal that pleases him, make a deal that helps them actually get into full rebuild mode. Golden State is out there. Miami is out there. The Knicks are out there. I think Golden State's got more stuff, the right stuff, to make a deal to get Giannis. And if you could get Giannis even at age 31 to go with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and a couple of the other young players that they're going to keep, maybe that does not allow them to go into the tank completely and makes them more competitive for the next 3-4 years or so. But trade deadline comes up Friday, and we got one big deal and lots of rumors out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think if Giannis can come to Golden State, then you got one last shot at it for Curry and Draymond, to see if they can make it work. But it's interesting, all these deals that are going on, and the whole Giannis leaving Milwaukee after he kind of pledged his love to the community, and now he's going to have to leave. So that's kind of an emotional thing. Yeah, what the hell happened with Dalton Connect? I mean, we thought he was going to be this sharp-shooting, three-point guy from Tennessee, and he just never worked out.
Never gave him much of a consistent chance. He doesn't play defense very well. Is he more guard than he is forward? But if you play him at guard, can he hold up defensively? Again, when he got drafted, do you ever recall some of the junk that comes out of my mouth some days?
We're like, who?
Why?
Yeah, why?
That was. Is that an adjective or an adverb? It's an adverb.
Yeah.
Why did you draft him?
It was in the middle of the first round, too.
Yeah, and I mean, they traded up. I think it might have been like the 15th pick.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He was a three-point shooter at Tennessee, but he didn't do any of the other things. He doesn't move real well in terms of being able to play defense. I mean, you talk about a miscast player. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird one,
So that's where we are. Trade deadline on Friday. You're an NBA fan. Feel free, jump on board. Give us your opinion there. Giannis to Golden State. I think they got the ingredients to make that transaction. You're an NBA fan. Join us. We go from that. Let's talk college basketball.
Yeah, Aztecs flying home a little wounded from Utah State.
Ooh, nice headline.
Dose of their own medicine.
Well, in essence, that's what happened in Logan, Utah. Hot, cold game. Aztecs blew an 11-point lead, let them back in it. Had a 7-point lead late in the second half, let them back in it. San Diego State had one basket in a 7.5-minute period early, had no baskets in 3 minutes at crunch time. They gave up 9-0 runs and 10-2 runs in that game to Utah State. And get this, the Aggies won this game despite their star guard, MJ Collins, going 0 for 10 for the first 34 minutes. And then Collins went 3, and a couple of free throws and sealed the deal. Guy could not buy a shot, could not hit a shot, and yet Utah State came back. And they won it despite 10 missed free throws, and they won it despite 18 Utah State turnovers. And the thing that made me gag, I hate spinach. As a kid, I used to gag on spinach. But what made me gag? Utah State out-toughed them, out-rebounded them 46-31 on the glass. They beat them at their own game on the glass and with perimeter defense. Templar and Elamine, between them, those two forwards, 31 points and 15 rebounds. They just pounded people onside. Miles Bird, another bad performance. Totally disappeared. 3 for 12 shooting during the course of the game. And I'll tell you, there was something happened during the course of the game. I thought to myself, the world has changed. Mountain West Conference basketball has changed. Do you remember San Diego State, this great run they've had under Dutcher and prior to that with Fisher? They'd stick their nose in it on defense and it'd screw your offense up to the point you couldn't get into your offense. And it beat your brains out on the boards. And they'd make you shoot 31% and you'd get on the bus with a loss. That's not happening anymore. Suddenly, a lot of other guys in the Mountain West have perimeter defense, bangers and grinders. And the other thing that's happened, you do remember the show. The show invented fan hostility. everybody in the Mountain West now has some version of the show.
Well, not everybody.
Well, most everybody in the Mountain
San
West.
Jose State doesn't.
But at the end of the day, holy cow, were those people at Utah State unruly? Fans in the stands treating the Aztecs as public enemy number one, target on their back in a lot of places they go. They still got to go to New Mexico in a couple of weeks to play.
Yeah, they do.
Les Lobos. So the whole Mountain West has changed. So anyhow, it's tough, and you can say, Hacksaw, why are you critiquing somebody that is 15-6? They're playing well, but they're not playing complete, and they're not the team they were. And it does not look as if Guath is going to be the player he used to be for maybe a large chunk of the rest of the season. And Bird is MIA more than he is hitting big shots and winning games for his team, and he needs to be what he used to be, and he's not. Not to say they don't have good players, not to say they don't play hard. They got a bunch of young guys that play pretty well, but just when they play good people, they've gotten mugged.
You're hard on these guys, man. A bunch of young men out there. You know what, though?
If they want to be the team in town, they're going to have to answer for it.
I was watching the game, and they had that 11-point lead in the first half, and I'm like, oh, this is doing a little better than I thought, because I think they were like a 5.5-point underdog. And so I thought, hey, they're showing me something, and the broadcasters were really fired up about the defense of San Diego State, and it all kind of slipped away. But you know what? The Aztecs have 2 of their top 5 starters didn't play in that game. And I don't even know when they're going to be back. I mean, they're saying they might hold them out for another week or two for Magoon and for Elsie Harrington. But, Bird was still, even though he wasn't making the shots like he should, but he was very impactful, especially with his blocks, his defense, his disruption. He's got, he's kind of a clever passer. But the herd out there, they make that, what do they call it? The bull sheet or something like that. And they hand it out to all the fans, and they get all the dirt on all these guys. And Bird was like everywhere on that. So he was getting heckled, and he's such an emotional player, So, it was a tough one for them. But, Ziegler in his article, his 3 Things article was talking about how the next couple of weeks, their games are going to be a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. And so the tough part of their schedule is at the very end of February. So I don't know. I still think they have a chance to win this conference. I mean, really, they're tied for first, but they don't get the tiebreaker. But, that can flip the other way when Utah State comes back.
The only thing that bothers me is for somebody that has got such, quote, credentials as a third-year starter, you would think Miles Bird in big games would have more impact, and he's not. Not this year. Surely not last year at the end of the season when they got smoked in the tournament. Maybe he's just a good college player who's not very consistent, but you can't win when you're playing the best teams when that guy is going 3 for 12.
But see, again, his impact is not just shooting the ball.
But they need him offensively.
But they do need him. But I think what happens is some of these games, it's like it's the Reese Dixon Waters game, or it's the BJ Davis game, and those are the guys that are lighting it up. Mm-hmm. And then, by the way, you were commenting about the defense isn't what it used to be, and that's true. But the one thing that the Aztecs don't have is like a real, like legit 5, a rim protector. Mm-hmm. And when they've had that, then the rest of the defense works a lot better. And then the perimeter defense is suddenly a lot better. Yep. When you've got a Nathan Mensah or, who is the other guy's name? Skyler. What was his name?
Yep.
Yeah. So they've had some big men down there that have changed everything.
Yeah. Well, Guath is not there to change it right now.
No. So hopefully he gets back. I mean, he was a defensive player of the year in the Mountain West. I mean, imagine if Guath and Harrington are healthy in like 2 weeks or so, they could really be accelerating and really building momentum going into March. I mean, that could work out well.
But they need more from Miles Bird than going scoreless or going 3 for 12.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, you're an Aztec fan. Feel free. They want to be the team in town. We're going to salute them. They do well, and we're going to analyze when they're not doing well and why. Fans Forum chat box. Hit a 3-point shot. No air balls allowed on your public comments. We go from that. Hockey Hotline.
Hockey Hotline. Puck it to me.
Tell you what, we got trade deadline in the NHL just around the corner. There's a bit of a deadline on Wednesday. That's when the hockey freeze for rosters happens. The Rangers are going to move Artemi Panarin. There are now, I was told there are 4 clubs who have made really firm offers to get the New York Rangers top goal scorer. The Rangers are talking to the Kings and the Ducks, in addition to 2 other teams. The big issue, Panarin is going to a near $12 million contract. He's got no trade clause. He's about to be a free agent. He's told the Rangers, you must give me permission to talk to whoever you want to make a trade with, because I need to have a contract extension before I accept a trade. The Kings are willing to do the extension. I don't know where the Kings are coming up with the money because they're up against the cap, but they're willing to do an extension to get Panarin. The Ducks want to rent him, which means the Ducks would have to pay a higher price in young talent to get him. So that's going to be interesting to see where he goes. But he is an impending free agent who's mandated, you can't trade me till I talk to the club and I get a contract extension. He does not want to be a street free agent. One of the names is that the Rangers are asking for young center iceman Quentin Byfield and multiple picks. The Ducks, are you going to trade more young players? Your young players are your core, which has put you in the playoff hunt. You're going to subtract from that core to get Panarin on a 1-year rental? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the latest in the NHL. Keep an eye. And again, there's a Wednesday trade roster freeze. You can make trades between now and Wednesday. They freeze the roster till February 22nd. No player transactions till after the Olympics. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about the synchronization of the Olympics and the trade deadline. So it sounds like, yeah, that trade window, you can't be trading them during the break.
Exactly.
Interesting. So when did the Olympics start?
February 11th, the women's hockey is the first event in that new arena.
Okay.
And the men follow right after.
Has there been any updates on the arena?
Making progress. I ran into a guy here who works for an electronics company who was on his way this past weekend to Italy to work in the electronics end of trying to finish that arena. They're bringing all the American contractors in.
Call the specialists, man.
Yeah, they are, to try to finish this. And I guess the IOC has taken a huge amount of criticism about who'd you give these job contracts to? Why the hell is this thing not done?
Yeah.
And we're on the clock.
Yeah, we are.
It is what, February 2?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that's where we are. Hockey fans, Ducks Kings, join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. Last set of topics on the table. Man, what a weekend it was to see other stuff on TV.
It was spectacular at Torrey Pines over the weekend.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the PGA Golf Tour. Justin Rose, record run, Torrey Pines. How about the guy from Great Britain via South Africa? Classy gentleman. He has now won 27 events on the PGA Tour and the European Tour. And second time he's won at Torrey Pines. Nobody had ever done this. Since 1955, nobody had led from first round to the final shot on the 18th green on the final day. He did. He also finished at 23 under par, all-time record. He finished with a 7-stroke win, broke Tiger Woods' record, which was set back here in 1999. First to go wire to wire. And I tell you, he was so classy. He was composed. The weather was beautiful, and he played perfect golf. And even occasionally when he popped it into the bunkers, got the good lie, popped it out, put it right on the stick. He did something I'd never seen. Late in the 4th round, he's walking up the fairways, and the fairways were lined with fans. And everybody's giving him the round of applause, and he's tipping his cap. I mean, he's just kind of an easygoing, laid-back personality. He stops, and he looks over to the side. I thought maybe somebody made a crack. And he walks towards the sideline, and usually players don't get involved with the fans when they're walking the fairway. And he stops, kneels down, takes his hand in his pocket, and gives a ball to a young kid who was wearing a T-shirt that had the British flag on.
Awesome.
Yeah, really cool.
Cool.
So a very, very nice man. Tough weekend for Brooks Koepka. His game is not what his game needs to be. He wound up finishing 20 strokes back. It was, I said it was going to be a wide open golf tournament. The doggone thing was over after the second round because Justin Rose had 6 birds the first day, 10 birds the second day. 6 birds and an eagle the third day. It was over. And amongst those who didn't make the cut, Xander Schauffele played poorly. J.J. Spawn played poorly. Some of the other marquee names were not there, but he's such a classy guy. Justin Rose wins. Unbelievable story in Olympic downhill skiing. We all know about Lindsey Vonn, record-setting world downhill skier, catastrophic injury 5 or 6 years ago, lost her balance, crashed into one of the gate fences, decided she would retire. She decided a year ago she's coming back at age 40. She's now 41. She's training, racing, winning. She crashed in Switzerland on Friday, injured the other knee. She'd already had knee replacement surgery on one knee. She injured the other knee, same thing, planted the cut, lost her balance, went into a safety netting fence, injured that knee. She says that she's going to be ready to run downhill in Italy. I don't know if that's humanly possible, but what a comeback at age 41. Tennis. I did this. Stupid me.
You wake up early?
I never went to bed.
Never went to bed.
Thursday.
Okay.
So I watched the men's semifinals.
Yeah.
Which is Thursday here, Friday there. I watched all 5 hours of the Carlos Alcaraz war of attrition. It was unbelievable. And then I tried to stay up because I wanted to watch the other semifinal, and I couldn't do it. I was exhausted. And then I woke up in the middle of the night. I went to bed at 1:15. The Alcaraz match went 5 hours and 27 minutes.
Did you like pass out on your couch or something?
Yeah, I was just delirious. So I finally went to bed, but I kept waking up.
Mm-hmm.
So I checked my phone. And then Novak is in a 5-set war with Sinner in the other semifinal.
Mrs. Hacksaw's, yeah. Turn off the phone.
Exactly.
It's 3:30 in the morning.
Damn it. Yes. So anyhow, Alcaraz won the war of attrition over the Russian Zverev. He came back. He was down 2-6, 0-3, and he came back. 46 unforced errors. I mean, he was just unbelievable. And then Djokovic, who's got a chip on his shoulder, spent all week feuding with the global media about, you don't respect me. I've won 24 Grand Slam events. He just takes it to Sinner and then beats him in a 5-set marathon. I found out Sinner is 0, as good as Sinner is, Jannik Sinner, he's 0-9 in any match that goes longer than 3 hours. He just doesn't have the durability. And Djokovic is just sitting there hammering shots. And then obviously we get to the championship, and Alcaraz is down to Djokovic and roars back and just beat him 3 straight sets after losing the first one. I mean, it was a really tremendous Australian Open tennis tournament. So it was kind of cool. So that's where we are. I watched a lot of golf, obviously paid attention to what happened to Vaughn, and then I watched the guys at center court in 99 to 104 degree heat play 5 hours.
It's cool you cover all these sports.
Yeah.
I mean, who covers women's downhill skiing but Hacksaw? So first of all, the tournament at Torrey Pines, the Farmers Open, it's just such great television, man. You know, you just fire that up like on a Saturday afternoon, and it's just like you're living the dream in San Diego. When you see that, you see what the whole United States sees, you know, because it was freezing in the southern, wasn't it like really cold in Georgia and Florida?
They had snow in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They don't have snow plows.
I know. And we've got like 80-degree weather, spectacular blue ocean and blue skies, those greens. So, you know, I'm about to say something about the course because it's such a beautiful course to look at.
Yep.
If you have an opportunity to play on that course, it's special. But I don't know if this is sacrilegious, but is it too easy of a course?
Well, one course, the north is much tougher than the south.
But didn't they? Well, it used to be the other way around. The South was tougher than the North, but then I remember they extended a lot of those holes
about 2-3 years ago.
And then, you know, I'm watching the tournament on TV and I see him tee off, and generally speaking, it's just a straight shot. You know, I mean, there's a couple of dog legs and bends here and there, but when the winner was, what was Rose, like 20 something under par,
23 under.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
He had 10 birdies in one day.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great golfer. He deserved the championship, classy guy, but you just wish that the course could be a little less forgiving, to make it a more competitive match.
Sometimes it is. If the weather's bad, and I've been out there, I've walked that course a lot. I've covered that tournament a lot. When the weather's bad, that place is a bitch to play. If it's rainy and windy, and we've had weekends, that's really rugged. So, but it is so picturesque. Forgive me. So my brother, he's in upstate New York, visiting family, right?
How much snow is there?
Yeah, lifetime snow, just wicked cold for a month so far. And I just took my cell phone and I texted him, and I took a picture of Torrey Pines and I say, I'm not piling on, but it's here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And I just like all the B-roll photo. I mean, look at guys surfing at La Jolla Shores, and it's just a great San Diego vibe.
And the one on the sky kite and flying over.
The whole thing. Yeah. Well, they're paragliders.
Right.
Yeah, you ever been to that paraglider port? It's right by the Salk Institute.
Yes.
Right next to UCSD. That's a pretty sweet little spot right there. So yeah, what a great tournament. Hopefully Lindsey Vonn, I hope she didn't blow out her knee. Need to replace it.
It's been very quiet since they air evac her out of there to a hospital in Switzerland.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see her jumping back in and proving that she can win, and winning in her 40s. I mean, so she's not just a pretty face. I mean, she's a champion.
Yep. And then tennis. And Djokovic he's got a chip on his shoulder. I mean, as big as a rock, but yet he's still got the gas to play. I mean, but Alcaraz, he has now won every Grand Slam event, and he's only 22. Never been done in the history of tennis.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, when I'm typing Alcaraz on some of these notes, I always have to think twice. It's not Alcatraz.
Doesn't it spell corrected?
Yeah, but it is Alcaraz. And yeah, he has been fantastic. I mean, but it's funny with Djokovic. I remember when he was kind of started, because he's an older guy. He's like around 40, right?
38, 39.
Yeah. So it was about 20 years ago that he made his debut. And I remember everyone said, this guy's different. The speed of the serve was just so dominating. I mean, now, that he's been caught up with, but he's a special guy in history. I mean, it makes you kind of wonder, where would Djokovic rank amongst the top 5 in the sport?
He's got 24 Grand Slams.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think he's arguably, number 1 or number 2, don't you think?
He lost his mind at the press conference on Wednesday because they were using the phrase changing of the guard. They were talking about the arrival of Alcaraz and Sinner. Those two guys had played in the championship of the last 8 Grand Slam events. And the last 8 victors have been either one or the other. And Djokovic just lost his mind. He said, how dare you ask me that question? There's no changing of the guard. You're not giving me any credit for 24 Grand Slam championships in every type of major event we've ever had. And he said, this era is not over until the final point is played in my final match, and I'm not leaving. Now, he's the last of the big 3 because Federer, and Agassi? No,
the guy from Spain.
Yeah. Rafael
Nadal. Yeah.
Federer and Nadal were the last of the big 3 that were together. He's the last man standing there, but he got to the finals. It just
is he the LeBron James of tennis?
Right now he is, not only athletically, but I think attitudinally too.
Yeah, I just like his edgy persona.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Okay, those are topics on the table. Anybody enjoy watching golf? Anybody watch tennis? Feel free. Fans Forum chat box is open. Hey, this podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business more than 100 years. You got projects, they got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend, your consultant. Please go to DIXIELINE.com just to see all the things that they have to offer. This podcast now belongs to you. There's a chair here. Pull it up. Tell us what you think. Ask a question. Make a statement, because the Fans Forum chat box is open for business, John.
Pull up a chair. Okay, here we go. Let's go to our friend Richard. Richard, thank you for the donation. MLB brings everyone together. When I'm at a game, I high-five the fan next to me and never ask if he's a liberal or a conservative. Politics is in our face every day. There were 74 million that voted for him. So I think they're down on you for giving Trump some grief.
No, it's the Dodgers that are asking questions. Do we want to go stand next to this guy as if we agree with everything this guy is doing? Everybody's entitled to an opinion. I mean, you might be from the right, you're entitled to an opinion. You might be from the left, you're entitled to an opinion. The host of this podcast is entitled to an opinion, including the guy with the opinions from left field who's more wrong than right. We're all entitled to an opinion. So don't be barking that we shouldn't be expressing opinion, because in this case, the White House is intersected with sports again, and everybody's talking about this.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, there is an intersection here,
Mm-hmm.
but you never usually miss an opportunity to get a little jab in there.
I'm telling you what I think. Why should I not tell you what I think?
One man's opinion
on my award-winning podcast. Hey, good to have you on board, man. Thanks, Rich.
Okay. All right. We got to, let's go here to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacks, what's that say? Hacksaw with McVay and Les Snead.
Typo error, just like me.
I know. Hacksaw with McVay and Les Snead getting extensions for my Rams. Do you think Matthew Stafford returns next year?
They're not pushing him for a decision. They're going to let him make his decision. I think there's a big question about the amount of money he's going to need to come back on another 1-year contract. Because salary cap does come into play here. I think his number this past year was $40 million against the cap. I don't know that they want to go much higher than that. But if you're asking me from a heart standpoint, I think there's still the competitor in him that comes back. Devontae Adams has already indicated he wants to come back. So maybe they come back for one last push, try to get back to the Super Bowl. It's a very valid question, but they're not pushing him for an answer as of February 2nd, but they're going to let it go a little bit farther. Keep in mind, they have 2 first-round draft picks. So somewhere along the way, they're going to have to make a decision. Do we draft somebody who is that somebody we could develop as the heir apparent to Stafford? But my heart tells me they want Stafford back.
Yeah. I mean, he's had an MVP season.
Yep.
Or damn close. They haven't made that announcement yet, though, have they? On the MVP?
No, this weekend.
So there's no way he's going to leave. I mean, why not get paid? One more shot at glory in the big time,
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely back. But it's interesting you say the Rams have 2 first-round picks. I mean, here's just a crazy thought. What if they traded them to the Raiders, get the number 1 pick, you get Mendoza, kind of tuck him in there as a backup, the heir apparent to Matt Stafford?
Just the question is how far down all those picks. I think 1 pick came from Atlanta, and then they have their own pick. Their own pick is way down at the bottom of the first round.
Yeah, but the one from Atlanta is probably in the top 10, right?
Yep. But I don't know. You don't, as destitute as they are for players, I can't see the Raiders trading out a number 1 unless somebody says, well, we'll give you 5 and we'll give you another number 1 and we'll give you a 2.
But they're the Raiders.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, they are. Okay, let's go here to Carlos. Hey, are the Padres going to be any good this year? Looking for honest opinions.
Well, they're of the firm belief Michael King can be vintage Michael King. Joe Musgrove says, I feel great, but I'm of the opinion until Michael King shows he can do it, and until Musgrove can do it, because guys, historically, 50% of the guys coming off the Musgrove-type surgery don't come back within a year. It takes longer, and some of them never come back. Some of them come back, never the same. Some of them come back, but it takes them 2 years to be what they used to be. So, to me, there's huge question marks, not so much about King, but, he had the shoulder, the scapular issue. I think bigger question marks about what kind of Joe Musgrove will Joe Musgrove be. And then Randy Vasquez gets bumped up. Now, he gave him more good innings than he gave him bad innings. But where do you go after that? I mean, there's nothing there that you can trust. And, as I alluded to, and once we get beyond the Super Bowl, we'll start doing lists again. Padres have signed 20 free agents, and they've signed only 2 pitchers of any major league experience. And one is coming off surgery, and the other's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. That's a big issue. I mean, they just signed Marco Gonzalez, who had pitched well in Seattle and then had forearm surgery. And Tristan McKenzie pitched well in Cleveland early and then fell out of the rotation, wound up back in the minor leagues. Those are the only 2 arms of note that they've gotten. Now, I give them credit because they've been able to find pitchers, and there may be some other pitchers that are fringe that they say this guy can take the step. They signed a AAA pitcher from the Yankees who was 9-9. Maybe he takes the step, but we don't know that until they do it during spring training, and they have to do it at the beginning of the season. So I don't think they have enough proven arms to me with the start of the baseball season.
Well, it just depends who you're comparing it with. I mean, if you're comparing against the Dodgers, They don't have anything.
I'm comparing it against a 162 game schedule.
Well, yeah. I'm looking at the roster the way it's constructed today, and assuming that it's a normal season with a normal amount of injuries. I mean, nothing crazy happens, bad or good. That roster right now, I think, is a wild card roster.
The pitching staff is not a wild card pitching staff.
No, it's not. No, but see, they've got options. AJ always seems to pull a rabbit out of his hat at some time. But even right now, like by the way, don't you love that whole story about how Darvish took Randy Vasquez under his wing? And they've been, even though for neither of them English is their first language, yet they communicate with each other and has really helped make Randy Vasquez a better pitcher. So you've got like things like that are happening with this pitching staff. I'm not worried about the Padres. I mean, I want them to get better. They have to add some pieces, but it's not like, they're the Angels or they're the Rockies. They should be, a solid, competitive wild card team that could finish anywhere between second and fourth in the division. The Giants and the Diamondbacks will be better this year, but I'm not too worried.
Let's just wait and see. They got 6 weeks before we get to opening day, and we'll just see what they wind up getting. If they get Darvish money to put on with whatever money they have left, they're going to have a little money to take on another pitcher. But how do you get that pitcher? There's hardly anything left on the free agent market, so therefore you're trading, but who you're trading? And if you trade somebody, are you trading? If you trade Cronenworth, now you're opening a hole at second base to go get an established third or fourth guy in your rotation. But the Darvish money is the first thing that has to happen, and then we'll see what they do during the course of spring training to get at least another arm in here that can be established in that rotation. Because right now, I just don't think with the question mark pitchers, I don't think they have anywhere near enough.
Yeah, they're question marks, and those guys will have their moments where they're going to be on the injured list.
Yeah, and I'm just not a believer if you say J.P. Sears or Kyle Hart. I don't buy any of that. We've seen that.
Is Johnny Brito still out?
Coming off surgery, but that's coming off surgery.
Another question mark. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great question, Carlos. We don't have the answer yet. The Darvish money will be the first item that I think has to happen, and then we'll go from there. We'll be talking more about it once we get beyond Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you.
Okay, another Padre question from Do You Love It? Hey, always tough seeing fan favorite like Luis leave, especially to a rival. But it's the business, and I trust AJ is going to bring in a big bat.
Where's he going to get it? It's going to be a rental. That's all it's going to be. But again, you can find guys who have good half seasons or a good full season. Or his ability to scope out guys, utility guys, who. Now I happen to like Iglesias. Now, he had been hot, cold. Over the course of his whole career, he came here, he played pretty well. He's unsigned. Nobody signed him, which is hard for me to believe.
That's the OMG guy.
Yeah. And then the year prior was the left-handed bat, David
Peralta.
Mm-hmm. Good year here. Hadn't done it before. Good year here. Out of baseball. Nobody signed him again. So AJ's been able, he's 38. AJ's been able to find guys that snap of the fingers, give him a good season. So we'll just see what else he does there.
Yeah, I hope Arise is successful in San Francisco. He's a good guy. That's my childhood team, the Giants.
Oh, and he's playing at that big yard.
He's got a big yard, and the wind kind of plays little tricks. You get hit it off that brick wall in right field. There's a lot that could go right for him.
Yeah, maybe he hits 327 spraying balls up the alley. There's so much real estate to cover out there. I could see him just spraying it everywhere.
Yeah, the sprinkler, man. That's who he is.
Good question. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, let's go to Richard. Hey, if any team has a real look at If any team has a real look at a never heard of three-peat, it's the Dodgers. Baseball is very difficult to even go back to back. If they don't win a third, will Major League Baseball owners rejoice across MLB?
I think a lot of people say, see, it doesn't work. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You win 3, 162 game grind. Injuries are part of the equation, but they're so deep in pitching. You're going to fall off your chair the day we do this baseball thing where we start putting the list up for you to read of all the pitchers each of these teams have. You're going to go crazy looking at the list that they have. But that's a really good baseball team. And now you add Kyle Tucker, who brings a pretty legitimate bat. maybe not a leadership personality, but a pretty good ball player to everything that's wrapped around that Dodger batting. Well, it's a really good team.
Well, they're going to be the favorite to win it, right? I mean, and they're actually better. I think they're better this year. So, yeah. I mean, what's your take on all this Tariq Skubal? I've been hearing a little chirps about the Dodgers might be in on him too.
Well, anything's possible. But the Yankees did not want to pay the price on a one-year rental, and Skubal doesn't want to do an extension. He wants to go to free agency. There's Circle Wednesday on your calendar. Ready? Wednesday is arbitration day for Skubal. All-time record. They offered him 16. He's demanded an all-time record 31 in arbitration.
31. Based
on what he's just done in the last year and a half in the rotation, he might win that case.
But wasn't someone getting over 20 million in arbitration recently?
In recent years, there have been a couple of ball players who have busted big numbers.
But 31.
31 all-time high.
Man.
So, but in terms of Skubal, yeah, the Dodgers probably have talked to the Tigers. The Dodgers surely have the resources and the depth in terms of trade to make a Skubal deal with Detroit. And he could be traded July 31st at the trade deadline. So keep that in mind.
If the Dodgers got him, I just go, what are you going to say?
It's take the air out of the balloon. Season over before the season starts.
Dodgers.
That's okay. Give us something to talk about.
All right, let's go here to Chris. Hey, 3 things guaranteed: death, taxes, and a loss if a Kings game is tied at the end of regulation. This team could realistically finish the season with more overtime losses than wins. Their plethora of below-average NHL players is overwhelming. My transition to a waterfowl is nearly complete. Reaction.
As an unhappy Kings fan, it's interesting you mention that because I like to look at the standings and just look at some unique things. I think the Kings now have 14 overtime losses. But see, you can look at that differently though, because every time you go to overtime or shootout, you get a point in the standings.
Oh,
so out of the 14 in the standings, it has wins, losses, and OTLs, overtime losses. But they get a point out of those 14 overtime losses, which is why they're still in the playoff race. But they're not a complete team. I don't know if they're going to get the New York Ranger center iceman, who's a big sniper, but they have to pay a price to do it. And if Byfield's a price, well, Panarin is a very different player than Byfield is. But Kings they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. They've got a lot of role players, and they've got a couple of real aging stars, and their payroll, because they got stars, their payroll is really, really high. So see if they make the deal, if they're the one that winds up with Panarin, but he's going to be traded. The Rangers already indicated that before the deadline.
That's just brutal. I mean, you're just going into OT and you're doomed.
Except you get a point. For every overtime game you go in, you get 1 point out of the standings. If you win it, you get 2.
In addition to the point for the win, the draw, or the loss, right?
No, if you get to OT, there's 2 points in every game.
Right.
You get to OT, you each get 1 point because you're in overtime. And then if somebody wins in overtime, somebody always wins in overtime.
Yeah.
The winning team gets a second point.
Okay, so there's a 1 extra point that's doled out.
Right.
Interesting.
OTLs can break your heart, but you do get points out of them.
You're still getting paid.
Exactly.
Essentially. Okay. All right. Let's talk some golf here. Let's get our buddy Joe in. Because, hi, Lee and John. My fond memories as a Pro-Am caddy at Torrey Pines in the early 2000s, carrying the clubs for amateurs and J.J. Henry, Steve Pate, and Cheryl Ladd. Following Tiger was a highlight. Hopefully, San Diego will remain its spot on the PGA Tour. Joseph from Brazil.
I'd sure like to see Torrey Pines become one of the elite tournaments in some sort of rotation. 3 years ago, the PGA announced they were going to make 8 tournaments, what they call elite special tournaments during the calendar. And we were led to believe that those tournaments would rotate. So you'd have a 20 million prize at Torrey Pines one year, another year it might be at the Greater Greensboro Open, might be another one, might be in upstate New York, but they haven't done it. They haven't done it that way. And that's why we don't see Scotty Scheffler. That's why we don't see Rory McIlroy here. If you make it a 20 million tournament, man, that'd be just absolutely phenomenal to have a 20 million tournament here and have all the stars. One of the theories, Joe, is they're having big money problems in Hawaii, and they had one tournament go out of business this year. The other one is still there. The Century in Maui was canceled because of the fires and golf course water problems. The Sony in Honolulu is still there, but I don't know that it may lose its sponsorship. What I would hope was maybe they make Torrey Pines the first tournament on the tour, start it at La Jolla here, and make it a $20 million tournament because it's so beautiful. And everybody comes. And then you go from here, then you go play La Quinta, then you go play Phoenix, etc. So I'll have to see what the PGA does for 2027. But that's one of the rumors that's out there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Hawaii it's a kind of in and out. You're not sure. There's always a worry. So that would be a great way to kick it off. But it's cool that Joseph was a caddy out there. And it's funny. You learn more about caddies. These guys, they're legit players. I mean, some of these caddies. But it's just the whole idea of what that relationship is like between a caddy and their player. I mean, would a golfer like Justin Rose literally go to the caddy and say, "What do you think here? Should I use a 5-iron or a 6-iron?"
Well, those guys travel with them all the time. Yeah, exactly. And they study golf courses. Exactly. They bring their cards out and they look at shots and what's recommended in certain weather conditions. No,
so like an analytics guy for him too.
Exactly.
So they probably have all his past data, like on this course. Remember, you shot a course here and it was similar hole in Scotland. Yep. You did this. Hey, by the way, this is totally kind of a tangent. Have you ever seen the Seinfeld episode where Kramer has a caddy that joins him, as a caddy, for life decisions?
No.
It's fantastic. He's like, "Oh, what do you think I should do here?" It was very funny. So it's just that the whole caddy thing to me, I mean, there's Caddyshack, the movie,
sure.
but really that relationship between the golfer and the caddy is one that I would just love to learn more about.
Yeah. Bill Murray yelling, "Is it a hole?"
Cinderella story.
Joe, thanks for being with us from Brazil. He wins the award for being the farthest away.
Yeah, he does. Okay. All right, let's keep on going here. Let's go to 1-4. Lee, the Padres' only claim to relevance was Tony Gwynn. This year isn't even Frankenstein compared to Major League Baseball team. Please start with the Dodgers on Thursday's show.
Oh, gee whiz. We're going to cover it all because we cover it all, but obviously we spend a lot of attention wrapped around the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Angels, because that is where we are located. Now, that's not fair. It wasn't just Tony Gwynn. Trevor Hoffman's in the Hall of Fame. Let's give some credit here to so many other really good players. And we've had flashes of time of guys that made big differences here. The Ken Caminettis of the world and the Tatises of the world. Those are special time players, wearing Padre colors.
It's just an arrogant Dodger fan, just kicking their little sister. They're like Marsha Brady, man. I'm telling you, so it's just, look up to us. We're beautiful. We're the Dodgers, and you, little San Diego, you had your Tony Gwynn, and that's it.
New season, we'll just see how it plays out, but we do cover it all. That's all.
I mean, seriously, if the Dodgers, a big thing happens with the Dodgers, they usually always lead off.
Exactly.
So it's not always we start with Padres.
And by the way, this podcast is different than a lot of other stuff, different than sports talk radio. We don't cheerlead. We don't do shishkumba. We don't sing kumbaya. What was the beginning part of today's podcast? Padres, state of the Padres, Preller's contract, which has not been solved, limited money. We talk about the issues the way they should be talked about. So that's where, and Dodger fan, we sit there and praise the Dodgers. We sit there. Do you remember the shows we did when we said the Dodger way no longer works, which infuriated half the world on this podcast?
And then they won this. Then they won the World Series.
Well, but we were making reference to the Dodgers and all the arm surgeries and are you handling your pitchers correct? So we cover everything from lots of different angles here.
Well, it's interesting. You just said we don't cheerlead. And you definitely don't. I do. I admit it, but you don't. But here's the question that came in here from, who is this? Left on base too often. Hey, what team does Lee root for?
I just enjoy covering sports and I enjoy gathering information.
For reals. Like, who's your team? Is it still Cleveland?
No, I grew up as a Cleveland Indians fan because I disliked all things New York Yankees.
And you lived on Long Island.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because everyone else liked the Yankees. You just Mr. Contrarian.
Yeah, I just whatever. I like them all. It doesn't matter. I cover them all. I love to watch games. I love to pay attention. And I spend all my time researching for information and data so we can present it on my web page, on my website, and we can talk about unique and very different things on this podcast.
Well, your dad pitched in the athletics organization, right?
Yes, the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team. I mean, well, you'd have to be a Sacramento fan, though. That'd be a problem.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep on moving. Okay. And let's go to HB949 Jeff. Hey, Lee and John, warm up your arms. The Angels might sign you next. The Giants will win the West Division with Luis Arraez batting second.
I don't know about the Giants if the Giants have enough pitching. That's a big issue. I do like the Giants batting order, though. Wow. It's going to be interesting the way they're structuring what Buster Posey is doing there. And it proves a lot of patience. You don't have to pay the first free agent you talk to mega amounts. Sometimes if you're patient, a guy that's a .317 career hitter falls to you, and maybe Arraez turns out to be really special in that batting order in that ballpark. Same thing with Suarez in Cincinnati. Reds haven't done a hell of a lot in free agency, but you're bringing him and his 49 home runs into the Great American Ballpark, which is a real tight, confined bandbox. God, he's going to hit some home runs there too. But his problem is he's got a garbage can for a glove. You can't really play him at third very much. His metrics aren't very good. He's a good guy, but some components to his game aren't very good.
Yeah, to me, this is all very interesting how MLB fans and, national, talk show guys are talking about all the more detailed metrics of what makes a complete baseball player. Because remember, as a kid, you get the baseball card and you say, okay, did they hit 300? Which barely anybody hits over 300 anymore. Did they hit 300? Did they have 30 home runs or 100 RBIs? And maybe did they steal a little bit? But now we're looking at OPS and OPS plus and all these defensive metrics. And sadly for Luis Arraez, he just doesn't
fill all the columns.
No, and you kind of then realize, oh crap. I mean, the way that I've been looking at baseball players, you got to kind of ramp up your knowledge on all these other data points.
A lot more data.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the input.
Okay. And, okay, let's go here to Michael. Hello, Lee and John. Great show. I have a question on men's Aztec basketball. They are up. They are down. What is their shot at making the March Madness tournament?
As long as they don't get bumped out of the early rounds of the Mountain West Conference tournament, they should be in. But do they go deep? I don't know. There's an inconsistency to Aztec basketball right now we have not seen for a period of time. And as Riley totally confirmed, they got guys that are dinged, and that changes the makeup of the roster and who can play and who can contribute. If they're a complete basketball team, totally healthy, they're a terror. But they are so far away from that right now, and Miles Byrd is struggling really badly with consistency offensively, and they need him to be able to score. So they'll be in March Madness, but they might be one and done if they don't have Guath totally back. And if Byrd can't be what Byrd used to be, then that's an awful lot of reliance on a lot of young guys, and I don't know how deep in the tournament they go.
I think the short answer is yes, okay, that they'll be in March Madness, but think it through. The Mountain West is going to have 2, maybe 3 teams, I think, in the tournament, and you've got Utah State, San Diego State, New Mexico, and then there's Grand Canyon and Nevada, but they're kind of like this maybe a little bit lower tier. So you figure of those 3 at the top, New Mexico, Utah State, and San Diego State, for sure 2 of those teams are going to get in. So the Aztecs going forward, you're going to be playing like Wyoming, and you got a couple of, generally speaking, easier games for the next week or 2. And then you got your guys coming back. I mean, they could be in a good position. I think if the Aztecs win the games they're supposed to win, we'll see what happens when they go to the pit in New Mexico. But win the games they're supposed to win and at least make the semifinals in Vegas in the tournament, then I think they're in.
Yeah, I think so too.
But they might get like the play-in game or get some crap like, number 13 seed and it's one and done.
I agree. But right now they're not. There was so much excitement and so much expectation. And right now it's borderline disappointment.
No,
and that's weird. I mean,
it's
weird. It's weird to say that because they're 15-6, but
Well, we kind of thought they were going to be up here. We thought that they were going to be top 20, a really good team. They're not that, but they're still, I think if you look at the history of Aztec basketball for the last 20 years, this is an above average team compared to that spectrum. But it's a team that has the potential to be maybe not as good as a national championship team, but certainly a team that could get to the Sweet 16. That's how I see it.
I can't say that.
Well, if everything goes the way it's supposed to go, but to your point, Bird doesn't score when you hope he scores. Sometimes the defense is a little shaky, but I'm telling you what, if you have Magoon Guath, rim protector, hitting threes, you love seeing Magoon take a three, and then Elsie Harrington, very mature player. Taj DeGorville looks really good.
Yep.
He really, really has made a big
Does
improvement.
Tay Simmons.
Tay Simmons looks good. Pharaoh Compton is just a beast.
Yep.
I mean, that guy gets anywhere near the basket and it's like thunder. So there's a lot to like about this team. It's just Groundhog Day, Lee. It's early February.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that. And we'll be talking more about it as we march on. Thank you for the question.
Okay, here's some breaking news from Michael. Brendan Donovan traded from the Cardinals to the Mariners.
Well, Seattle's been trying to get a second baseman, and I would assume maybe they gave up some young pitching, and the Cardinals are in total fire sale mode. I like him. I think he's a pretty good ball player, and he'll have good people around him in the batting order. So that's a pretty good acquisition.
Yeah, it is. I think he's kind of guy has sort of like long hair, doesn't he? Yeah, like long curly hair. I remember him. He's very, very talented guy for the Cardinals.
And Seattle was looking for a second baseman all winter. And with Jerry DiPoto is catching a lot of flack about why have you not done anything? Well, that's one of the reasons. They weren't going to overpay. They're going to wait for the price to come down. And then St. Louis had never traded Donovan. They were shopping. I thought he would have been gone very early at the winter meetings in December. Now they're going to spring training, so that probably turns out to be a win-win deal for both.
Luis Arise off the board. Brendan Donovan must have been next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go here to Sports Fan. Hey, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, why not have the MLB teams we're on FanDuel will go on Victory plus keep the regional sports network? Also, I like to see the ratings on the Super Bowl and Olympics on February 8th.
Oh, they're going to be really something. Yeah. I don't think the Olympic ratings versus the Super Bowl are going to be anything to watch about because the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. That's all things NFL. I don't know how they're going to solve this, but Rob Manfred, with what happened this morning with 6 more teams opting out from FanDuel. FanDuel was on the brink of turning the lights out completely. They're going to wind up with everything they wanted to wind up with, and then they'll go back. For the next 3 years, everybody will be under the MLB umbrella. Most everybody, not the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and the Red Sox, but they're going to have to sit down and negotiate. What can we do to unify everybody so we can bring it all under the MLB umbrella? Because that's really the game plan.
Well, imagine if all 26 of the medium to small guys got on board with Ron Manfred's plan, and then you said you got like the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and Mets are the ones. So you have like 26 against 4. And I think that's when the negotiation begins.
Yes.
So, but I don't know, just for me as a marketing guy, I kind of like having one network that spans them all, so from an advertiser perspective, it's really easy to kind of, target your message in the markets you want using MLB's platform. I think that could work out really well. And there's a lot of opportunity, I think, to standardize the production of the broadcast, and the studio teams and all that. I think they can get so much more leverage out of getting all of them under one umbrella.
Well, I think MLB, the prime example, the Padres were the first ones because they're the first ones that took the hit when Bally Sports.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah. So the Padres gave them the rights. And you look at the quality of the Padre broadcast, the broadcast crews, et cetera. It's been consistent. It's been rock solid. The graphics have been okay. And I mean, I've seen some of the other markets, those games, they look like they're cut from the same cloth as the Padre telecast with the local announcers in Pittsburgh or wherever.
Yeah, they're definitely using similar resources,
right?
And that's the way to do it, I think. But yeah, you're going to have to work a deal with these other big market teams because they're not just going to be Mr. Nice Guy and give it away.
Yeah,
they're going to want something in return.
So it takes time. We'll just see where it goes. But what happened today? Now there's 3 left that don't have a TV contract. The Angels are one of them. I don't know what the hell the Angels are going to do, except, I don't know very much about Victory, except I know it's a small regional market, but, turn it over to MLB. MLB's got all the experience. Angels, make the right decision for your clientele.
KTLA Channel 11.
Yeah,
we get him back on rabbit ears so we can watch Angel baseball. Okay, let's go to John. He goes, lots of incredible memories from that 95 Super Bowl season. And remember the letdown of the actual game. We had so many leftovers because we all lost our appetites by the end of the first quarter.
It was hard because they were running uphill right from the gate. And every time you thought they'd make a move to get close, Frisco come right back down and score. And San Francisco was just brilliant. I was of the opinion, I'd said on Radio Row, because I was on the 49er station, KGO. They interviewed me a bunch of times. And I said, Chargers have to make this a shootout because I don't think we can hold up. How are the Chargers going to be able to defend Jerry Rice and Johnny Taylor and Brent Clark? And, I've told John the story. I've mentioned this on the podcast. Bobby Ross had told me that they had looked at 17 different game tapes over 2 years of 49er formations that George Seifert had run. And they thought they had every formation scoped out.
No.
And they went the beginning of that game, the first 6 snaps, they ran formations the Chargers had never, ever seen. Ricky Waters lined up as a wide receiver. Jerry Rice lined up in the backfield. Brent Jones, the tight end, lined up in the backfield. Johnny Taylor was in the backfield. And the poor Charger defense was so screwed up. And then they got guys in motion. I remember Seau twisting his head, trying to move people. You cover this guy as the ball's being snapped. And Steve Young just boom, boom, boom. Like I said, 6 plays, 2 touchdowns, 14-0. Oh, my goodness. And the Chargers never recovered. I mean, they got hit by a bolt of lightning, and Steve Young threw 6 touchdown passes. It was a great offensive display.
Yeah, I mean, the defense had deer in the headlights for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet you a young Andy Reid was taking notes, just thinking, have these surprise formations for these big games when all the pressure is on and all the distractions of the Super Bowl. And then suddenly you've got Jerry Rice in the backfield and you got something cooking.
I made a crack on the air towards the end of the broadcast, and it just kind of came off the top of my head. And this thing was, we were going to lose. It was going to be, maybe it was 49-26 at the point that it happened. And I made the comment. I said, if I wasn't the voice of the Chargers, I think I could really enjoy this game. Boy, San Francisco is spectacular. And NFL Films picked that up and put it in one of their videos.
Hacksaw in the memories of Charger fans. That was brutal. I mean, look at here's got another comment here. This is from Nathan. Hey, what up, guys? I remember Stan Humphries got pummeled in the Chargers' only Super Bowl appearance and that entire 94 season, and nobody wants to remember that. That was rough.
But the season was such a run, and seeing him galvanize the community was so cool. Sidebar story to this, and I've told John this. So I had my wife tape the Super Bowl game in its entirety. So, awful game. So we come home, everybody feels bad. So I never watched it. So one night, might have been in late February or March, it was raining on a Sunday night. You can go outside. I said, I'm going to watch this game. I want to watch the full game. So I put the, what do you call, not
the
DVD.
VHS.
Yeah, VHS. Put the video thing in, punched it up because it said Chargers 49ers Super Bowl Sunday. I punched it up, and what came up? Sesame Street. My kids had taped Sesame Street over the Charger Super Bowl game. I've never seen the video of it.
That's like the Heidi game. Remember that?
Yeah, I've seen clips, but
no. Well, it's probably just as well that you didn't watch it.
My stomach would churn.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, just take aside the whole, you're the Chargers play-by-play, and we have Charger fans here, Niners fans, but just for the average regular guy watching the game, that was just kind of a bummer game.
Oh, it was blowout city from the beginning.
From the beginning, like imagine if you're like, a fan of the Dolphins and you're going to someone's Super Bowl party and you're like, this game sucks, and that happens every once in a while in those big games. I think the emotion is so peaked for all these players and coaches. And then when one team is explosive, like you said, boom, boom, 14-0 right off the top of that game, then the other team is completely deflated, and then it all goes to hell.
Yeah. And the sad point, and maybe more Charger fans will join us in the Fans Forum chat box in coming weeks. My biggest disappointment, aside from the loss, I mean, the greatest part was the journey and winning all these games nobody expected us to win, and see it come together and what it meant to the community. We've talked extensively about that. My biggest disappointment, it's like the community has totally forgotten and ignored what this franchise did that one unique year. And I said, how could that be? Now, maybe that's an offshoot because of what Spanos and the first family of football did to 55 years of loyalty to San Diego Charger fans. But it's just amazing. It's like nobody ever brings it up. Nobody talks about the great season, the players, the personality. Maybe it's got to do something with Seau's death. It's like it's a moment in history that people have just kind of pushed away.
Well, do you think like the city of Oakland still celebrates the Athletics 4 World Series championships?
Probably not now.
No, of course not. I mean, those guys bailed on that town. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a special time in San Diego history. I'll give you that. But for the most part, we're still angry. I mean, we're still bitter.
I agree. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We've covered a lot of information. Thursday at 1:30. Super Bowl preview. We'll talk extensively about the game and, of course, all the other topics on the table. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you. Got projects? Go to DIXIELINE.com. Check my website. Read what I write. Subscribe. Join the Hacksaws Insiders group. Follow me on Twitter. And we'll be back here Thursday at 1:30. John, Super Bowl preview. I'm going to tell you some things you won't believe come Thursday.
Oh, really? Okay, you got some things ready, waiting for us.
We're working on it.
Good.
And thank you for being with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.